Hey, what's up guys? John here. Hope you're having a great day, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play The Fool on the Hill by the Beatles. This is going to be a fingerstyle accompaniment lesson. It's going to sound great if you sing or play the melody over this guitar part, and it's just going to get us into some fingerstyle basics as well. The song is 12 bars long. It's a verse form that just goes over and over. I'm going to break it all down for you step by step, but before we get into the lesson, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and make sure to hit subscribe, because we post new guitar lessons every single day on this channel. Our goal is to help you get better at guitar. So hit subscribe so you don't miss a video. Also, you can click the link in the description and get a free PDF that's all about soloing and playing single note melody like what I was doing at the beginning of this video. So check that out as my gift to you. All right, with that said, let's get into the lesson. I'm gonna break this down in 4-bar sections. And one thing I wanna talk about before we get into it is I am tuned to drop D. So I've taken that low E string and lowered it a whole step. I have a separate video on how to tune to drop D. If you don't know how, I'll link it up below. The first chord we're gonna play is a D6. And we can play all 6 strings, but we're gonna be using 4 fingers here. I'll show you the chord first. We've got all open strings. Open 6th string, open 5th string, open 4th string. And then on the G string here, that 3rd string, I'm going to play the 2nd fret with my 1st finger, open B string, and then my 2nd finger goes on the 2nd fret of the high E string. So this looks like a D chord, but with the B string open. So we just let go of that note. We've got a D6 chord, which is a super common Beatles chord, by the way. They loved using the 6th voicing. So that's our D6. That's going to be the first chord. And then the next chord, we're just going to lift off these fingers and actually play all open strings. We're going to play, you can play the D string, the low D that's D-tuned, and then D, G, B, E, open. This is E minor or E minor 7 over D. So we're going to be using our fingers to pick this part, and it's going to sound like this. So that's our first 4 bars there. We're going to start on the D6 chord. And we're going to put talking about the finger picking hand now, we're going to put our thumb on that drop tuned D string, that low D. And then we're going to put our index, middle, and ring all on adjacent strings. They're going to play the G, the B, and the high E strings. So those are all sort of together, and I've grouped my fingers together, and they're almost just functioning like one sort of claw that I'm pinching the strings with, like this. So I'm going to start with that claw, and then I'm going to go to the thumb on the low D string, and we're just going to alternate. And this is like a piano style, like I think of like da-doo, da-doo, da. Like if you played piano, you know, you've got 2 hands. You can play a chord and then a bass note, chord and then a bass note, and you're going to alternate. Chord, bass note. This is like the guitar version of that. So we're going to play 8th notes. We'll play a bar of 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the D6. Then we're just going to let off these fingers and play all open strings, do the same thing for a bar. 1 and 2 and 3 gonna go D6 to that E minor over D, D6 to E minor over D. 1 bar per chord. It sounds like this. Day after day. Da, 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 da. So that's the first 4 bars. For the next 4 bars, we're gonna play this. So some new chords here. We're gonna play an E minor. And for E minor, we're gonna put our first finger on the 2nd fret of that low D string. And then we're gonna mute the A string, and then we'll put our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D string here. And then we've got open G and open B. Now what I did here is I shifted this pattern with my index, middle, and ring up 1 set of strings. So now I'm going to be playing the D, G, and B strings with the claw, the thumb still on that low string. See that? That's going to be the first 2 beats. So in this measure and the next 4 measures, we have 2 chords per bar. So what we're going to do, instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're going to split the bar. We're going to go 1 and 2 and change chords, change chords, change chords. So like every 2 beats here to start off with. So E minor, and then what you're going to do is go to an A7 chord. And to get there, you're going to take off your first finger and put your 3rd finger down on the 2nd fret of the B string. This is A7. And I'll keep my claw, the D, G, and B strings here, and then I'll put the bass note A in the bass there. So the first bar goes E minor for 2 beats, 1 and 2, and then A7 for 2 beats, 3 and 4, and notice the claw stayed the same, but the bass note moved. So our thumb has to play the root notes of each chord. Like that. Then we're going to go to D6. This time, we're going to play it with our 2nd and 3rd finger. So I'm just literally taking that A7 and shifting it down. I'm just trying to think of what's the easiest way for me to get from one chord to the next. So we got the A7, then D6. Then we're going to add our first finger to the 2nd fret of the A string. And our claw is on G, B, and E, those high strings, bass notes on the A string. So there we went from D6 to B minor 7. So then we do the E minor to A7 again. Now here we got a cool change. Does a little James Bond there. So that would be D minor. So before we were playing a D6, you know, which is a major chord. Now all of a sudden the quality goes minor. Fool on the hill, fool on the hill. So for D minor, I'm going to put my 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string, and 1st finger on the 1st fret of the high E string. Now a lot of people play D minor like this, but for this song you want to get your pinky in there because we're going to go. We want to have our 3rd finger free for the next chord. So what I'm doing there is playing a D minor for 1 beat, 1 and. Then on the 2nd beat, I keep my 1st finger and my pinky where they are and put your 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret of the G string. Now I'm playing a B flat over D. So I'm keeping that low D in the bass. And just for 1 pinch thumb there, it's 1 beat. So 1 and 2 and. Then we go back to D minor for 2 beats. 3 and 4 and. Fool on the hill, So let me play these 4 bars all as one thing. This is bars 5 through 8. Sounds like this. 3 and 4 and James Bond. If I put that together with the first 4 bars, so far here's what everything sounds like. Starting with a D6. 3 and 4 and to the E minor. James Bond. Okay, here's the last 4 bars. Once you get these last 4 bars, you can play the whole song. It sounds like this. So we were on that D minor chord. Remember, we did the James Bond move. We did D minor to B flat over D, and then back to D minor. Then we do a full bar of B flat over D. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Then we bring in a new chord, C. And C is going to be played like this from the A string down. We're going to play the 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 1st fret, open. I'm going to keep my fingers, the index, middle, and ring, on the strings G, B, and the E, those top 3 strings, and then I'm going to play the bass note on the A string. It's a full bar of C. We're going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we're going to play D minor for a bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then to D6. And you could play it like this, but I like to use, if I have a finger down already for the next chord, I'm going to leave it there and play the D6 like this time. So here's the last 4 bars, starting with that B flat over D. 3 and 4 and... Major. I love that part. All right, hopefully this is making sense. If not, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you. I read all the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. So we're gonna put it all together now. We're gonna play all 3 of those 4-bar sections we just broke down, and this will be the whole song. So start on the D6. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Day after day. To E minor, A7, D6, B minor, E minor, A7, James Bond. D6. And then it starts again. Da-na-da-na. All right, the last thing I want to mention is there is a 1-bar intro before we start all of this that's just D6. So the song would start out like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then day after day. And then you go to the progression. There you go, guys. That's a fingerstyle accompaniment part. That's a breakdown on The Fool on the Hill by the Beatles. It's a great song, beautiful melody. The chord progression is really satisfying. I hope you had a good time working through this. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you got some value out of this. We're posting new lessons every day, just trying to bring a ton of value to you guys and help you out totally for free. There's like no strings attached here. So thank you guys for the support, and we'll see you in the next one.